about this party so far and our candidates here, we all come from very different backgrounds. We have similar values and we have similar goals. That's what brings us together. And you know, I've met a lot of great people over the past few weeks. Some of you are a little too extreme for me. Some of you are not of extreme enough. You guys, you know who you are. And I love every one of you. It's fantastic, right? But it's fun, you know, getting into conversations. And you know, I kind of don't know where we're going to pivot. Are we going to talk about, you know, Klaus and eating bugs, or are we going to talk about housing? And you guys keep me on my toes all the time. I love every single minute of it. It's fantastic. But that's what's amazing about this. Like, if we're going to have a true democratic process, we have to be able to disagree, right? And then, you know, talk about the disagreements. But then we have our core values that hold us together, and that's what's important. One of the core values we all believe in is, you know, freedom of conscience, freedom of choice for ourselves, right? Not having things pushed on us that don't belong there. That's what's going to bring us together. In my family, so this year marks 100 years that my family has been in Niagara. My great-grandfather established himself in Port Colborne, and then from there we, you know, moved up to St. Catharines and kind of all over, and now we're working in St. Catharines now. But I was born in St. Catharines. I went to school at Gracefield, and I grew up in Port Dalhousie. But we were taught as a Slovenian family, we kind of had this rule, right? That, you know, you can over dinner, you can disagree all you want, and you can yell at each other. Preferably nothing is thrown, but you can argue. But you got to wake up in the morning, and you know that your family's there for you, and you're there because of your common values. So it's not the disagreements. We don't want those driving us apart. We want the core values holding us together, and that's why, you know, a lot of you see that the family is under attack. We have to bring that back together. So if you haven't met me before, if you don't know much of my background, I'm currently, my family's been in real estate development now. We're working on finishing the tower downtown St. Catharines. That's Nickel Developments. I've been working on that project in real estate and learning a lot about the development process, but unfortunately about the government process and how the government's involved-ish in housing and what they're trying to do and what they're flailing at. So that's been a learning experience during the day. And then during the evening, I'm the owner of Niagara Kung Fu Academy, where we've been teaching martial arts to families for the past 20 years. Some of my students are here. Thank you guys for coming out to support me. It's also our security detail, multifunctional. They're great at that. But, you know, 15 days in to 14 days to flatten the curve is when I got tweaked, and I'm like, okay, this isn't right, you know. Someone asked me online, you know, if elected, what would you do, when would you hold people accountable? And I said, I would have held people accountable if it were up to me on day 15 of 14 days of flattening the curve. Like, I gave you guys 2 weeks. Nothing else after that made sense to me. And everything they were doing was the exact opposite of what we teach. So at the school, we teach character development, we teach discipline, we teach accountability, we teach leadership, all of these things. And then, of course, being proactive about your health, taking your health into your own hands, not having it dictated to you, right? But teaching kids also how to be resilient. Everything we saw came in was the exact opposite of that. So this wasn't like a hard decision for us. This is not something we're gonna support. And of course, it got worse when we saw, you know, some kids come into the floor, and we were never checking any passes or anything like that, ridiculous. But some parents knew that certain people didn't have the pass, and they would pull their kids off the floor. And this is ridiculous that we're having to have this kind of division. So that's what, you know, really drew a lot of my kind of my attention towards what was going on. So coming into politics, what my aim is exactly aligned with what I do professionally, teaching kids and building up resilience, and then building housing. I think the two, for my mind, the two biggest crises that we face right now are housing and mental health. And everything kind of spurs from that. When you look at the opioid crisis, well, that is a symptom. The core is we need to have strong family values, strong people, where they're not having to seek some other kind of means of medicating themselves in a way that's potentially disastrous. And the way we do that, we build up resilience in our kids. We get them moving again. You know, we can. Like, first thing we do when we have a child come into the school is we teach them how to make eye contact, introduce themselves, and shake hands. And it's funny. It's so simple, but it's funny that over the past 5 years, it's become more and more difficult. So that's like step one right there. If we can't look someone in the eye and shake their hands, right, then we know we've got a long way to go. We do have a long way to go, but that's what I'm passionate about. And I think there are common sense ways to fix that don't need more government oversight. They don't need more taxes. They don't need to throw more money at it. They're just simple, common sense solutions. And that's what they're missing. And that's what, when I hear the debate, if you can call it that, the Cogeco debate that we saw here, right? It wasn't really a debate. It was like, okay, we got, NDP and Liberal, and they were just kind of lobbing questions at them. It was cute that they called it a debate, but anyway. I didn't like, they don't actually, and they're well-meaning people, but they don't actually have a hands-on grasp of what they're talking about when it comes to mental health, right? And then the same thing comes with housing. When it comes to housing, I hear the same thing. Well, we need affordable housing. And it's just the same government prepared line. Put affordable housing in my hand. Well, they don't understand how that works. Like, you cannot, we need so much housing for what we already have. You cannot just put your hand out and ask for it, right? We've had 9 years of devastation in the economy. Where are we going to get this housing from? Well, there are common sense ways to do it. Had they asked, they would have figured it out. I've spent the past year writing to federal government, to Sean, and this is how I got involved in politics, by seeing how much it's not functioning. I've been writing to Sean Fraser, we've been writing to Chris Biddle, sorry for saying the name, and I could not believe how completely useless that process was. So, and maybe it's because, in development, just like Kung Fu, you can't go to university for it, there's no course for it, right? You learn through experience. So maybe because I didn't have a certificate on the wall, maybe that's why we got ignored, I don't know. But, going forward, we need to have just normal people having a voice to be able to fix this stuff. Because, the ones up with the certificates on the wall, they're not getting it done, sadly enough, right? So we do need to have fresh faces in with a much different, all kind of different experiences. That's what we're going to need if we're going to fix that. So that was the main thing. All of this stuff on the platform I love, but for my passion, what I'm going to be fighting for most is fixing housing with common sense solutions and getting our kids resilient again. Because no amount of any kind of other treatment is going to work if the kids can't stand up and look you in the eye and they don't have a sense of strong core family values.